This is Steve, and I'm here with Block Editor, who's one of the new community council members for Neo Tokyo. This series of interviews is designed to help citizens get to know their community council and community leads. So we are going to jump right into the first question for Block Editor, and she has had these questions for far longer than anyone else, so we're expecting perfect, sculpted, scripted answers. Hello, what is your pre-crypto background and experience in?
Okay, well, nice to see you again, Steve.
Nice to see you again.
You're interviewing you. Pre-crypto. So one of my first jobs was actually for a startup in Southern California. And I got the job because we had a family friend who was in marketing for in Big Bear for one of those ski facilities, like Mountain High or something like that. I forget. But he was developing an indoor snowboard and ski resort in Anaheim, like kind of near Angel Stadium. And it was a big project, you know, like Anaheim was involved and a lot of those, I forget the centers around there now, but Anaheim Stadium was involved. So it was kind of like I got thrown into the startup world, and it was literally like my second job. Like before that, I had worked at like a beach club as a teenager or something. But I was doing, I was helping them. I got thrown into helping him with press releases and these pitch decks and these all these startup documents for this huge, like $100 million sports center. And it was an amazing learning experience, and I had so much fun. And that was my first taste of like that exciting world of like what could be and like what it looks like, trying to make stuff happen. It didn't happen. The whole project got, it went really far. We had investors and partners, and Gotcha was involved. Even Enron was involved. And it got shot down in bond issues in the end. But I learned so much working for that marketing director. He's just great at marketing. He was the marketing director for like Surfing America, the Surfing Association or something like that. So he was really big in that world. It was a huge experience. Like I always wanted that again. But what I went to college for was writing. I was always interested in writing, kind of like yourself. Not so much novels, like we were just talking about. I was like always interested in other people's stories. So I didn't know what I wanted to do with writing. I didn't have my own story to tell, but it was something that fascinated me. And I ended up majoring in professional writing because I felt like I had a way to tell other people's stories simply because I was curious about them and I didn't understand them, right? And I thought if I can understand it and write it in a way that others can understand, that's a value I have. But from there, I actually spent 15 years as a stay-at-home mom. I homeschooled my kids, didn't work. So my life was as a teacher and a mom for a long time. And that was my background pretty much pre-crypto.
I mean, I will say, saying the first startup you worked for was funded by Enron and went nowhere is the best crypto pre-game I've ever heard, because it prepares you for everything that happens here. That's very good.
Right.
Just to follow up on that.
I was young. I learned a lot. It was crazy.
I'm sure. Do you think that in school for writing that you had a clear sense of the kind of thing that you wanted to write?
No, not at all. I had no clue. I loved reading is really what it came down to. So I wanted to learn how to do whatever it was that they were doing that captivated me so much.
Got it. Okay. That's awesome. Well, moving on then, tell me the story of how you got into crypto and then Neo Tokyo. So how did you segue from writing for this $100 million business into crypto?
Right. So, like I said, after that startup experience, I was a mom for 15 years, right? And my ex-husband actually started investing in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin back in 2017. So it was him that introduced me to it. And, it was right before the crash. And I was able to watch it from 2018, 2019, and just see what, the savings that he had put in, just to see what it did, right? And I think it was, it was like 12, 14 was where Bitcoin was at when we got in. And so I watched it go down and I watched it hover, 6,000, 3,000, and then back out to 10,000. And then in 2020, we finally got divorced. It's not a sorry thing. It was actually a really good thing. But I found myself with 3 kids that I was homeschooling, and no job, and all alone. I mean, we had savings, we had crypto, we had the hard wallet, all of that going, so there was enough to float us, but I knew I had to figure out something to do fast. So I returned to writing as quick as I could, and at first I started editing books online, like doing Fiverr side gigs, and I'm just trying to put groceries on the table, right? And editing books does not pay well, at least as a side gig, on Fiverr. So I knew I had to go bigger. But I knew I had something, because I don't know what's been going on with teaching kids these days is I came back into it after 15 years and everyone was fascinated by what I could do just simply editing their books, right? Which surprised me, because I thought, I've surely lost it. My skill is outdated or whatever, but it wasn't. And at one point, one client reached out to me, and this was before I was really advertising in the crypto market. I was still in crypto. I was trading, coins and stuff. I was trying to relearn, how to do all this. And a client reached out to me to edit his white paper. And he was from Singapore, and he's still actually a close friend today. This would be Cradles. It was a gaming project that actually I think they're in beta right now. But his main language was Mandarin, and he wanted me to edit this white paper, and he was just in the middle of learning English. So it was literally Google translated, and it was so hard because, he has all these things like, that he's trying to translate. In his game, he has healing potions, right? And different worlds and all of these things that are gaming terms, which I had actually learned from my kids who were, like Fortnite stars and all of this. So I knew the gaming terms that he was trying to say, but in the white paper it was like blood bottle, right? that's what Google Translate. Healing potion was blood bottle, and I'm sitting there and I'm working with him on this. It was a 40-page white paper, and I'm working and I'm like, okay, are you trying to say healing potion? Oh yes, healing potion. That's what it was. Anyway, so I worked with him for several weeks over just getting this white paper edited. After that was done, he kept sending me more work, and I changed my gig online on Fiverr to first it was editing white papers, and then it was writing them, because I realized how horrible they were. This was 2021, right? Wow. So it was altcoin heaven, right? Everybody was launching anything, and within like 4 months, I was pulling in like a full-time salary just writing white papers on Fiverr. So that's kind of what started. Yeah, that it was an experience. And from there, I just grew. I ended up having to hire other writers. I had to hire a graphic designer to design the white papers. And then I got into Neo Tokyo. So I got in the same time as you in the S2 Mint. And I was following Becker for the S1, but had zero clue what was going on, right? These riddles and all this, and it was on me, right? I'm still homeschooling 3 kids during the same time as all this, so I had not the time to spend on Twitter. But when the S2 Mint came around, I was all for it. God, what was it? There was a game? Oh, I forget the game. What was the game to play in order to get like?
Well, there's PUBG was the big one afterwards, yeah.
Yes, I actually brought my nephew over to play PUBG for me.
How did you do? How did he do, I should say?
Oh no! So this kid is like he's a great gamer. Okay, like I was confident. I was like, we are going places, kid. And it was so much fun. He's like training and all this, and he comes over and he gets on the game, and actually it was such a glitch. He's parachuting down. Before he even hits the ground, somebody comes out with a car and knocks him out.
No. Oh man, what a whiff.
I was like, oh yeah, we were ready to like have a party and all this, and it was like, no.
You're fired from your free job, sir.
Right, so right.
Sorry. That's great. So you minted an S2 and then played the games and then got in that way.
Yes. So I was in Neo Tokyo. And I'm just an Angie's figuring it all out, and met a lot of great people, and I really saw something there. And eventually, I found my way to the Neo Tokyo News team. As an S2, I was in there. I was like, what are you guys doing? Can I write for you? Right? And they were like, yeah, because they were looking for writers at that time. So it was an easy segue, and I went in there and I started doing a lot of the citizen spotlights. I remember I did But Woodja's spotlight, and he was really glad to have that. And I realized that was sort of like a utility we could offer citizens, if they come in and we're like, here's who this is, here's what he does, right? And just announce it to the group. And now he's also a council member. But yeah, and so it kind of went from there. And I was really excited to be with the news team. I met just stellar talent all around. And eventually, at the time I still had my white paper business going. We rebranded it to TokenPR. And, some of the news people work with me over there now too. So, yeah.
That's amazing. There is this weird through line, and I think I see it a lot in Web3, of you have a very clear sense of what you want to do and what you're good at. And then your whole career, you just followed that thing. And now you got somewhere that's really exciting to you. I think that's really nice. And it's a good lesson, I think, for a lot of the outside world, which is instead of trying to build your skill set to what you think the world needs, find the thing that you love to do it really well, and then you build a life around that. You've done exactly that. That's cool.
Exactly. And it was so nice, especially for me, in my situation, to have something that I was like, all right, this is what I know how to do. How do I make money off of it now that I need to make money? And it worked fine, right?
That's great. I mean, that leads us to the next question really naturally, I think, which is, I know you raised 3 children. What do you spend most of your time working on now that's not crypto-based? So Web3 projects, which you kind of touched on a little bit. What other outside jobs do you have?
Yeah, so I'm obviously a full-time mom. Luckily, my oldest son, he's got severe autism. So he goes to a special education school, which is this amazing farm out here where he gets to go work with horses and stuff. So
Wow.
He's there. And then my other son is in high school. So a lot of his schooling is online. So luckily I don't have to do the hands-on homeschool work as much anymore. So I'm pretty much full-time Web3 now, surprisingly. So I have TokenPR, which is my company. We do press releases. We do content. We do run the daily content for Influensive. And, we do some blogs for a couple of projects. We still do white papers. Pitch decks is a big thing. And then my main project is GeN3 Magazine, which issue 1 was just launched, I guess, a month ago, maybe 2 months ago now. And it's, that magazine is telling the story of Web3. And I'm the managing editor and director, so I kind of handle all the content. What's going to go in, who are we featuring? Our last cover was Brian Evans. He's also a citizen, and that's the project that we're all really excited about. I think it's going to go places. We've got a new mixed media director too, who's turning the features, like the graphics for the features, into these cool like augmented reality pieces, so you can scan the images on the print magazine.
Oh, very cool.
They come to life, and they move and talk, like the cover talks and tells the story of the magazine, and it's going to be cool. It's really shaping up.
You stay very busy.
I mean, it's exhausting.
Well, that's some honesty there. I think that's right. Here's a question for you. My mom just got Snapchat and can't use it. Well, do your kids think you're the coolest mom in the world because you talk so intelligently about Web3 and future tech?
No, they don't.
Okay.
Actually, it's funny. Cool. My kids did not have phones until literally like a year and a half ago. So they grew up without that, which I'm very proud of. They had to get phones eventually. Yeah, but while they do love their games and stuff, they're very much outdoors kids. Like my son is training to be a pilot, and he spends his day fishing, and the daughter's with the animals constantly. So they're not impressed by crypto or computer work at all. No.
I think you judoed them nicely, because there's that famous trope about a preacher's daughter becomes sort of the hellfire, hellraiser. You've tricked your kids into becoming outdoorsmen. I think that's very sweet.
We'll see. Let's
Well,
hope.
what are your strongest areas of expertise? I mean, yeah, we'll see if they start to wrangle and wrestle horses. What are your strongest areas of expertise? You've covered some of them, but are there other things you think that you really have a knack for?
I think I stick with copy. You hate the copywriting.
Mhm.
Copy is sort of my expertise, and it comes from just sort of humble roots, right? I'm a mom, by trade. So when it comes to all this Web3 technology that I write about, um, it's something that I have to understand. And in order for me to understand it, I'm not a coder, right? I can't develop an app. I can't do any of that stuff. So in order for me to understand it, everyone can understand it, right? So once I break it down enough for me, it's broken down enough for pretty much a lot of the world. So I think my expertise is in breaking difficult concepts down. And that's essentially where I succeeded with the white papers. Is people would come to me with these outlandish ideas that sounded like Mandarin, right? And I was able to look at them and be like, what are you trying to tell me? I don't understand. And once I understood, I was able to write it down. So that's sort of it.
I think that is honestly the one of the most important superpowers that's around today for our current period of time. I mean, Carl Sagan was famously good at that. There's a lot of people, I think, who are really wonderful at that, but there's so many complex ideas in society today. Having someone to actually, I call it Gerberizing it, which is like making it into baby food so someone can actually eat it. Like that concept
I love that.
it's really necessary, because there's so many complex concepts right now and no one has time to dig into all of them. And so someone who's actually able to understand them on a granular level and then convey them, it is incredibly necessary. So I'm happy you're in Tokyo.
And everybody in this world that we live in is so dang smart, and it's like too smart for their own good, right? Because they will talk in a language that the rest of the world just doesn't understand. So yeah, I feel like it's useful.
You got it. It's extremely useful. I'm happy that you're on our team. What do you absolutely hate working on?
Numbers. I'm not horrible with numbers, but I hate working on them. And this came up a lot in the white papers. People would ask me for tokenomics advice, and I would know like what would look right or what was expected by the community, but I didn't know if it was right. Which
Right.
Actually, I solved that problem. Being in Neo Tokyo, I met Mark, at MHL Solutions. And when we did kind of partner on that. So when I do have a client that asks me about tokenomics, I'm like, here, talk to this guy, right? Because it's not, I know I'm doing them a disservice by even helping them on numbers or tokenomics or something like that. So it's been great to network here and meet people who actually like those things.
That's really, really great. Yeah, being able to have a community where you can say, I don't do this well, let me team up with someone who has a superpower in my super weakness. I think this is the place for that, for sure.
Yes.
I know you've covered some of this in the previous question, but are there anything else that you've done inside or for Neo Tokyo that you're most known for that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I think we did cover that. It's definitely the news would be my biggest contribution in Neo Tokyo. I have worked with a couple of brands in here on their pitch decks. I worked on the Citizen Capital pitch deck, or I did
Beautiful.
the Citizen Capital pitch deck, yeah, which was I was extremely proud of, because that deal started rolling shortly after. I think they just needed to explain it to Becker a little bit more succinctly for him to understand the value. And I think we all love, Citizen Capital is like my entire investment thesis now. So I'm really glad that it's rolling in here. But that would be one that I worked on that I'm really proud of. But mostly it's the Neo Tokyo news and the Citizen Spotlights is what I'm most known for.
I know I'm biased on this, but I do think Neo Tokyo has one of the best, if not the best, news outreach branch in Web3. Are there other? I'll put you on the spot here. Are there other projects or news sources from other entities that you respect, enjoy?
I write for Influensive, so I'm biased there. I'm gonna plug them. But as far as like news outlets representing communities, I've been looking for them because honestly, I've talked to a lot of the news team, and they have built something, even before I joined, that is so amazing and so valuable as a utility for a community. And I wondered if someone else was doing it. And if not, the idea was like, how can we wrap this up to help other communities do this? Because it's not easy to get started. And we started looking at other NFT communities to see what they had. And I even like went all the way down to, like, let's check out what Bored Ape Yacht Club has. And their news was okay. It was a cool site and everything, but I don't think they hold a candle to what the Neo Tokyo News team does as far as putting out updates and keeping a community informed. It's pretty cool, and the Twitter Spaces are a lot of fun. Those things are really starting to ramp up. So I haven't seen it done for NFT communities in a way that's organized.
Yeah, same. I do think it's the best. I always try to check my bias because it's, especially on crypto Twitter and Discord, you kind of get stuck in these conversation loops or these sort of bubbles or feedback loops. But I have looked around for other news sources, and Neo Tokyo probably the best. So excellent work there.
Yeah, and I looked around too because they do exist, but a lot of them are just sort of replications of CoinDesk, right? It's like who knows what they're doing, but it just seems like CoinDesk or Cointelegraph is rehashed in community news, or somebody plugs it into AI and write it. I'm not sure, but it's nothing actually new, right? And there's so much news out there that is it's the same story on every single platform. Like you can get it in a blurb on Twitter or X, sorry. But it's nothing new, right? And it's like, news is not supposed to be opinions and all that, but really everything in Web3 is an opinion, like is it newsworthy? Just making something newsworthy is somebody's opinion, right? Mm-hmm. So I think with what's going on in the news team, like it's hard to replicate.
I actually think that's where Neo Tokyo, one of the places it excels is it has a lot of really unique, strong personalities to it, and everything that comes out is tinged not with the AI sort of faceless tenor, but it's tinged with a real personality. There's a real strong, unique individual personality.
Yeah.
News team is full of these really incredible speakers, bloggers, podcasters, voices in the space. And I tune in to some of those news spaces just because I like hearing those people think and talk.
Oh, I completely agree. I'm just fascinated by how smart everyone is in here. It's an amazing collection of people.
Same. Speaking of, why did you want to join the leads or council for Neo Tokyo?
Yeah, so I Neo Tokyo has grown my business, right? This is not my side gig. Web3 is, how I support my family. So being here has been the most important part of my entire business and financial existence, really. But it's hard to follow, right? Like if you tune out of Neo Tokyo for a little bit, you're lost. And there's just so much going on here. We've got the project resource program. We've got, what Chronicle does with the outreach team, and being a part of the news team too. It's like I knew that there was a ton more going on behind the scenes in Neo Tokyo that I couldn't wrap my head around, right? And I knew I had ideas or even just ways to organize. Like a lot of the way I approach business is from like the non-PC term of being a secretary. And I know women don't like to use that term anymore, but I use it, very proudly. And I knew there was something like there's an organization missing, right? There's a secretarial aspect of like, yes, we have all these great minds with great ideas, right? But like, who's doing the legwork? So a lot of like my idea to join the Leads Council was like, I can go in there and like sort of manage these ideas. I'm going to take the grunt work and see what I can get done to sort of assist. And really, I wanted to see what was going on with these great minds, behind the scenes. And I'm seeing that now. And it's amazing what is going on in the Leads chat and the team that we have supporting us and like just working to build this whole community up. is amazing. Like there should be a day where we make the leads chat public so people can see how hard their team is working, because I'm sold 10 times over now.
I can't believe it. I cannot believe how smart and active that leads chat is. It is out of control and sort of overwhelming. And I feel like it's almost like a graduate degree in Web3, just listening to people debate ideas in there. But yes, seconded that fully. It is a lot of hard work going on over there. So it's cool to see. You've had a chance to think about this next question, and I did not have a chance to think about this next question. So I'm going to ask you, which block editor, which one word do you want people to strongly associate with you?
You know, after doing about 10 interviews, I think my answer just changed this morning.
Yes.
So originally we were going for, you know, like business, like what do you do in Web3? Like, you know, like originally it would be PR, right? I do PR, I do press releases. And I thought that, well, that's my word. I want people to understand that I do public relations. But I changed it. You know, you're feisty. I mean, I've had so many different answers. So yeah, my word is mom. I mean, mom sort of encapsulates my whole life. Yes, I even have people that write over at TokenPR that refer to me as their crypto mom. I think mom is just who I am. And I don't think anyone else here is going to pick that term. That would be probably weird. So
it'd be very strange. No, you own that. Crypto mom is great. That is a very, very good moniker for you. I like that. All right, mom.
Yes,
that's good. That's good. And lastly, just anything else that doesn't really fall into the above buckets. Tell us a little something about your hobbies, outside interests, stuff that other people might identify with.
Yeah, my side life is I'm a hobby homesteader. So I think you met my goats last time we talked. But
I sure did.
I have a herd of goats. I have several dozen chickens. I'm working on a garden. I'm trying to do the whole homestead thing on the side and have sort of a sustainable lifestyle. I'm a million miles away from a sustainable lifestyle, but I love the idea of sustainability. So that's sort of my side goal. When I'm not here on Discord or scrolling X, I am outside working on my little homestead, producing food.
That is a perfect hybrid of all the parts of the world. So you're pushing forward in the technological space, and also you're returning to your roots in terms of actually growing functional food out of the ground and raising animals. I love that.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The goal is to one day have that be my full time and not my hobby. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see if Web3 gets me there.
Well, I will say for those of you, those are the listeners who have not been on a Zoom call with you, your house/deck/environment is very aspirational for those of us who are trapped in sort of urban life here in the concrete jungle.
Thank you. Thank you. I do love it here.
It's really nice. Well, thank you for your time. I'm happy we got to spin the script a little bit here and learn a little bit about you, because you've been behind the scenes for so long. So thank you for making the time to do it. This is C's, and appreciate everyone listening in.